The arena lights bled into darkness, a hush falling so heavy it felt like the air itself might shatter. Somewhere in that silence, a shadow moved, slow and certain, as if drawn forward by something older than fear.
Matchup, I thought one of the interesting things here was, Dakota Ditcheva is a superior athlete to everyone that she has fought so far in her career.
When Dakota Ditcheva walks to a cage, crowds stop breathing. You can feel chest, the quiet dread that something violent and inevitable is unfold. She does not posture. She does not grin. She walks like a verdict. And when the steel door shuts, there is no escape. That night in April 2024, the crowd was loud, but beneath the cheers, energy pulsed. The kind you feel when you know seconds from breaking. Dakota had just conquered PFL Europe and came hunting for more, eyes on the bigger world stage. Every fighter who had touched gloves with her so far had glass in a windstorm. Now, America's own Lisa Malden was the next name in her path, a woman who believed she had the blueprint to stop the British phenom reclaim pride for her homeland. She smiled through interviews, confidence, promising to humble the invader. Dakota's answer about her strategy was phrase, calm and sharp enough to cut, just to be vicious. The cage door clanged shut. From the first second, Dakota stalked forward with the quiet purpose of a predator that already knows the kill is certain. Malden tried to match the pace, but every step brought pain. Low kicks landed like axe swings, each one a small detonation against bone. Precision jabs cracked against Malden's skull with surgical cruelty. The crowd roared. Dakota's face remained carved from stone, eyes locked, unblinking. Even the boo birds rattle her only fueled the eerie calm. This was not a contest. It was a live demonstration of what a Muay Thai striker can do in a phone booth. Malden's own offense was drowned before it began. Out tentative kicks, only to be dragged into Dakota's world and pressed to the fence. For a fleeting second, the American leaped when Malden executed a slick judo throw, surprising everyone, including herself. But Dakota bounced up as if the canvas were spring-loaded, barely ruffled, and resumed her methodical destruction. Straight rights pierced the guard. Shins whipped across rib. Each strike painted a new bruise, as if Malden's body were a canvas and Dakota's limbs the brushes. Then came the knee. A single textbook Muay Thai missile launched straight up the center. The kind of strike that changes careers. Malden folded like a collapsing chair, betraying the pain even as her spirit refused to quit. Somehow, impossibly, she stood again. For 5 brave seconds she held on. Another vicious right hand to the body emptied the last reserves of will. She crumpled to the mat as Dakota descended with a flurry, relentless as a storm. The referee did not wait for ribs. He stepped in, and the nightmare was a first-round finish. Cold efficiency. The British invader had turned America's hopeful into a cautionary tale. Yet, that was only the beginning of the takeover. August 2024 brought the women's flyweight tournament and another challenger with bold words, Jenna Bishop. She promised to drag Dakota into the deep water of grappling, to expose a weakness no one else had found. The bell rang, and those promises disintegrated. From the opening seconds, Dakota moved like a sniper, front kicks stabbing forward like spears forged from steel. Each one snapped Bishop's head back, halting her attempts to close distance, swung wild, desperate to find range, but it was like chasing a ghost. Dakota made her look as though she were shadow boxing 3 feet away from reality. Then, a brief moment of danger. Dakota stepped in with knees during a clinch, just a touch too confident. Bishop pounced with a slick takedown. For a minute, the crowd roared at the upset, watching Dakota on her back, eating shots. The canvas suddenly a place with teeth, but calm is Dakota's native language. She worked back to her feet, the narrative with merciless finality. A brutal knee exploded upward, impact sharp enough to make the commentators gasp. Bishop hit the mat, as if someone had cut the power to her soul. Astonishingly, she stood again, pure grit pulling her upright. Dakota acknowledged the courage for barely a breath, before a clean right hand lasered through the guard. Bishop collapsed once more, and this time the referee did what everyone knew was coming. The fight was over. A second straight first-round finish that felt less like sport and more like a message. There is no safe distance, no hidden weak, no path out once Dakota Ditcheva decides that her run through America was not simply a string of wins, it was a warning. Fighters speak of power or speed, but Dakota wields something colder. Her kicks carry the blunt force of a baseball bat. Her knees slice through defenses like glass through paper, and she does it all with a stillness that unnerves even veterans. The unshakable calm of someone who knows pain is just another tool. Opponents train to match her pace, to outthink her strategy. Yet when the door closes, they find themselves drowning in precision, unable to breathe beneath the weight of her presence. Analysts tried to explain it in numbers: striking accuracy, takedown defense, the clean geometry of her combinations. But numbers never capture the chill that runs through a room when Dakota locks eyes with the person across the cage. Fights like someone who has already seen the ending and is simply replaying it for the crowd. There is no wasted motion, no frantic rush. She waits, calculates, and then dismantles, leaving opponents at the lights, wondering how the beating arrived so fast. The American press had hoped Lisa Malden would be the wall that slowed the British charge, that Jenna Bishop's grappling might reveal a blueprint. Instead, came proof of a different reality. Dakota Ditcheva is not just a striker from across the ocean. She is a phenomenon in the making, a fighter who forces a rethink of what the flyweight division can endure. Every elbow and kick carries the weight of inevitability. Even in those brief moments when she appears human, a judo toss, a slick double leg, she rises unfazed, storm cloud that cannot be dispersed. Back in Britain, fans already whispered of her as a future world champion. American crowds who felt the full measure of her presence. They watched a visitor walk into their arenas, silence hometown heroes with the cold efficiency of a surgeon. Each victory wasn't just a win on paper. It was a statement that borders mean nothing when violence is this pure. Commentators who once questioned her level of competition began speaking of title shots and global domination. Fighters who studied her tape admitted that there was no easy answer. Her speed closes before an opponent can think, and her power is the comfort of distance. Those who engaged with her tried to describe it after. Malden spoke of the way Dakota's eyes never wavered, the eerie quiet, even while the crowd roared. Bishop said it felt like fighting a machine that adapted with every strike, that every feint was read before it left her muscles. Their words only added to the legend. This was no fluke run. This was a fighter engineered for chaos and composed enough to control it. By the end of 2024, Dakota Ditcheva had become a name spoken with a mix of admiration and caution. Promoters began circling. Knowing a star this dangerous draws both fear and ticket sales. Journalists speculated on, could a reigning champion withstand that pressure? Could any wrestler hold her down long enough to matter? Each highlight reel replayed the same haunting images: the knees that buckle spines, the right hands that land like sledgehammers, the calm face that never betrays emotion. What makes it all more unsettling is her youth. Fighters often need years to develop composure, to marry instinct with technique. Dakota arrived with it baked into her DNA. Her Muay Thai foundation gives her weapons from every angle. Her footwork is a lesson in controlled aggression, cutting off cages with the inevitability of a tide. She does not, she corners. And when the corner closes, the fight is already over. Fans in America, some still nursing of those brutal defeats, keep watching anyway. There is something magnetic about witnessing that level of mastery, even when it comes at of hometown favorites. They tune in not to see her lose, to see how she will win next. Whether it is a surgical knockout, a body shot that folds an opponent in half, or a sudden flurry that forces a referee's mercy, each appearance carries the thrill of danger. That history is unfolding in real time. If you felt the chill of that power, if you want to see how far this storm will travel, now is the time to follow the journey. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the growing crowd that knows something historic is unfolding. Because the next time Dakota steps into a cage, you will want to witness it live, before another opponent learns the hard way that once the door closes, there is no escape.